TheBradRules!
Undertale is 10 years old, and I'm quite surprised with a fandom as big as the one for Toby Fox Creations, we are not seeing more attention being paid to this celebration-worthy occasion. With the release of Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 in June of this year, playing another round of Undertale was certainly on my to-do list. I wanted to go back and play the game that started it all. And it's still a fantastic game, full of amazing and memorable characters, and it's got great pacing. Everything just flows so well in this game's story, and the way that characters are introduced and how the events play out. And going back to it, it's impossible to not look at it through a Deltarune lens. And this was the first time I played through the game after experiencing all the chapters of Deltarune so far, so it was quite an experience to play it after the fact and looking at the game in a whole different light in some ways. Undertale is a different story and continuity from Deltarune, but it contains many of the same characters and parallels, but there's still connections being made all the time. Whether they're connected in universe or not, it's still great to see. But going back and playing this one again, there's certainly many hints that these two universes are indeed connected. I mean, come on, look at this. You know, when I played Deltarune Chapter 1, I totally forgot about Gerson and this Deltarune on display in his shop and his dialogue referring to it. Also, how about this NPC talking about how Sans and Papyrus just showed up one day, even though all the monsters were driven and sealed on the ground? Where did these guys just show up from? I mean, this NPC might just be referring to them showing up in Snowden Town, but I'm not so sure. It's definitely a possibility that they're moving between worlds, especially since Sans just seems to make anything possible. Coming back to Undertale after experiencing so much Deltarune is quite jarring in many ways, because you'll see how things were expanded upon while many things are the same. Like, I do prefer seeing the protagonists on screen for the fights, as well as seeing who I'm fighting in color. Did anyone ever think about how odd it is to see all the enemies in black and white in Undertale? Which really makes the fight against Photoshop Flowey stand out. Also, there's a lot more visual flair to the fights in Deltarune when it comes to acting, and this is obviously greatly aided by the ability to see the protagonists on screen. But that doesn't mean the gameplay is not still engaging to me, with many different options to try out amongst many enemies. And this is where the path of your experience is determined. You can choose to act and try to handle a fight in a non-violent fashion, leading up to an eventual sparing, or you can just strike them down in cold blood. But these characters are so likable, striking them just feels so wrong. And still to this day, I just don't have it in me to do a genocide run, which involves you taking out every enemy in the entire game. There's just something so troubling to me about taking that route. And the first time I tried out doing a neutral run, that even started to wear on me. I mentioned it in my first review of the game years ago, when I talked about how taking out the dog couple of Dogamy and Doggerisa, and hearing about how they'd spend Christmas together from an NPC really took a toll on me and made me feel sorry for my decision. You'll also be punished for taking the genocide route because you'll miss out on many of the game's amazing character interactions, because the characters will be dead. And other events will just not happen because of your reputation, and the biggest reward you'll get is the opportunity to fight Sans in a nearly impossible fight, which may be a punishment in a way when you really think about it. The fact that the game can play on your guilt because it has such a strong conveyance of emotion through its characters shows how truly special Undertale is and how effective it is at establishing the link between its world, the character, and the player. It makes you care and think about what you're doing. The Knights of the Old Republic games did a pretty strong job at this too. And those games are two of my favorites of all time, and Undertale came along and delivered a lot of those same feelings directly to me. And I love being able to feel strongly about the games I play. The thing is, Undertale is so much of a simpler game and didn't need a cinematic feel or increased realism to make me feel the rush of passion and intensity you feel when experiencing Undertale. It might sound dramatic or like I'm laying it on thick, but when you feel very involved in what you're playing, it just feels so good. Something that has really fascinated me, especially since what we know now about Deltarune is the presence of W.D. Gaster, this mysterious former royal scientist who may or may not exist in the game. This could be him, and then again it may not be. During my most recent playthrough, I actually got the wrong number song event in which an unknown caller asked to speak to someone whose name starts with the letter G but cuts themselves off before finishing the name. Events like this are determined by the fun value, that is a random number assigned to each playthrough, but it can be manipulated in the game's files. Other events feature Gaster's followers showing up, explaining what happened to Gaster, and one that appears to be holding a very piece of the man himself. It's creepy how the randomness and scarcity of specific information regarding Gaster is so elusive, yet you know this guy is very present in the game. Toby Fox gave some information and yet gave us so little at the same time that Gaster's popularity has actually exceeded characters with actual fleshed out stories in the game. It's truly impressive from a creative standpoint. Plus, when you check out the True Lab and see the horrifying amalgamate experiments with this creepy as hell vibe, you'll have more questions than answers despite receiving some answers because they breed even more questions. The mood of the game truly shifts when you enter this truly unsettling location. This game's lore truly is unlike any before it. Speaking of weird, what about that fight with Photoshop Flowey, as the game is repeatedly exited out purposely in the PC version for a blurring of the line between game and reality like no other. It's truly something else. I had never experienced something like this before. It will certainly take you by surprise the first time you experience it. The OST is a true work of musical art, with Toby Fox creating what is undoubtedly a masterpiece through and through. There are so many amazing pieces, and it's an OST I listen to outside the game frequently. It's just such a heartfelt soundtrack for a heartfelt game. It's pretty much just as good as the gameplay itself. From the serene yet sad-sounding Snowfall music to the tremendously uplifting Hopes and Dreams, the range and variety of the tracks is truly impressive, and they do so much to elevate the experience of what's happening on screen. Undertale is truly a complete package of a game. The story, the characters, the music, the seemingly endless lore. My god, the lore! It's everything you could ever hope for from a game. Undertale is remembered and talked about so fondly to this day because not only has its lore carried over into the ongoing Deltarune chapters, but it's just a hell of a game on its own. It's a game that tries to get you involved with what it's doing from so many angles, whether it's charming you with its creative characters to captivating you with its fun gameplay style and choices. There's always something interesting going on in this game. If you haven't played it yet, I couldn't recommend it more wholeheartedly. Don't let the very vocal weirdo fans deter you. That's not everyone, even if a quick glance online would tell you otherwise. Just experience it for yourself and let your own opinions form and block out all the obsessive weirdness from the gatekeeping goofs that pollute X, Reddit, and of course here on YouTube. Undertale has given the gaming world so much to marvel around in its 10 years in existence, and something tells me we'll be talking about it still for another 10. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you an Undertale fan? And if you're not, please let me know in the comments down below. Has the fan base turned you off, or did you play it and it's just not a game for you? I would love to know, so let's discuss it down below, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my subscribers for your continued support, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.